Hi, I'm Ducky. I'm a drone pilot, and this is the first in a short series of quick videos I'm making to explore some of the drone regulations that regulators around the world, and now even in my own country, have proposed, formulated, or implemented. Today's episode is on registration. Now, registration is not a new idea. It comes from the idea of having a register of people's identities, property, skills, or activities. The idea in the case of drone regulations is to register either the people who fly drones or the drones themselves. In the case of people themselves, this is usually more to do with some sort of license or certification, so I'll ignore that for now and focus on registration of drones first. So, if we have a large database of every legal drone in the country, what does this give us? We have a list of where these drones might be, so in the extremely unusual case that a drone pilot is the only one living in a large radius when an incident is reported, we can ask if it was them. They can deny it, show us a drone wiped clean of any data, or say they no longer own the drone, or it's been destroyed and disposed of, and we're back to square one. So usually these registration schemes have a requirement to put some identifying information on the drone. Some sort of registration number, telephone number, some mark that uniquely identifies the drone, or at least the pilot. So now, if the drone is involved in an incident, and it crashes, and it's found, and there is enough left of it, and if the owner complied with the registration marking requirement, and the marking actually belonged to the right owner and wasn't faked, the registered owner of that drone, who may not actually have been the pilot at the time, since it's very hard to prove he or she was actually the one flying, could be issued a stern warning letter with absolutely no legal teeth. I think you might already be seeing the problem, but we'll go a step further. Imagine a horribly irresponsible drone pilot, one with the worst safety mindset imaginable, flying close to and directly on the approach path of an airport with a fully and correctly registered drone. Now imagine an airline pilot sees the drone and calls it in, and the airport is shut down. The drone pilot finishes up their selfie session, flies back to their picnic spot, packs away their drone and drives away before the authorities arrive. How exactly does registration help catch the drone pilot? It doesn't. So why is registration so attractive to governments? For one, there is a money component of recurring fees which can offset the costs of administering the airspace. Because money muddies the conversation, and to be charitable, I'll set that completely aside. Following the UK's example and risk data are perhaps a more powerful motivator for governments though. Looking at the data for air procs, or near-miss incidents, with drones, we can see that after implementing compulsory registration in the UK in December 2019, drone air procs reports have fallen hugely. Here's a graph. You can see air procs incidents have fallen by somewhere around a factor of 6, and the highest risk incidents have all but disappeared. You can see why other governments might have gotten the impression that registration is a cure-all for their drone worries. But the data is deceptive because there were actually 2 requirements that were brought in that month. The first, a registration scheme where owner ID numbers had to be affixed to any drones over 250 grams by a sticker. The second was a requirement that all drone flyers pass a simple 20-question online competency test. So, which of these changes reduced the airprocs count? No, let's rephrase that. How does a sticker repel a drone from proximity to aircraft? Essentially, no drone owners want their drones to impact manned aircraft. That's a nightmare scenario for a drone owner. Regardless of whether the culprit is found, most right-minded people would live with a lifetime of guilt if they caused any kind of aircraft accident, regardless of whether it led to any injury or fatality. So why, if that is the case, would an identifying sticker make a difference? Most airprocs reports are for drones that are already registered by serial number to an owner by DJI, which serves the same purpose. And someone who would flout the regulations on aircraft proximity on purpose certainly wouldn't hesitate to refuse to put a sticker on their drone. It seems clear that the change that reduced the AirProx count was a simple, compulsory, online, 20-question, multi-choice competency test. About as simple as that. Andrew Shelley, PhD, a Kiwi researcher and consultant, in fact a specialist in the drone industry, published a white paper exploring exactly this. That the benefits of registration and even of promoting legal methods of self-defense against drones are at best only proportionate to the actual harms caused by drones. I've linked the research and other articles by Dr. Andrew Shelley in the description below. So let's go all the way back to the start of this video, where I mentioned registering people by way of licensing or certification. The UK hugely reduced its drone AirProx problem with a 20-question test. That's, in essence, a basic form of certification. And that's a situation, at least in New Zealand, we already have. UAV pilots, including model aircraft pilots, drone pilots, freestylers, racers, and so on, can go through a considerably more difficult certification and advanced competency assessment process that allows them to fly within 4 kilometres of aerodromes with operator permission, among other benefits. A compulsory 20-question test for all UAV pilots would clearly be beneficial, and the cost would likely be far outweighed by the current cost of investigations. But this is not drone registration. This is a basic regulatory competence test, which I should point out most experienced UAV pilots support. So, to summarise, drone registration, labelling, databases of drones, these are not effective techniques for increasing safety. But the other approach taken by the UK, compulsory basic online regulatory competence tests, seem to be a huge performer. Let's take the good and effective and leave out the bad and useless, please. Thank you for listening, and subscribe for the next episode.